Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the company Tecnifibre. How did they wind up with the top ATP tennis player as well as the top WTA tennis player? Stay tuned. All right, guys, so good morning to everybody out there. Got my hot cup of Joe. And it's really hot today, but I like it that way. Thank you to Lars Torlinski. Lars writes, watching you from Germany. Thanks for your videos on YouTube. Keep going. Thumbs up. Well, thank you, Lars. Thank you for being my coffee sponsor of the day. Your words of encouragement from Germany. I appreciate you. If you want to be my coffee sponsor of the day, network is buymeacoffee.com/tennis spin. How did Tecnifibre get Iga and Daniil? They're the two top players currently on their respective tours, and they both play with Tecnifibre. How did that happen? So, Tecnifibre is a fairly young racket company. They're about 18 years old. Let's start with Iga here. I remember when Iga won her first French Open, and she was playing with a prince. And the weird thing was, I don't remember the P on the prince racket she was playing with, because all through that match, all through maybe even the semis, I kept looking at her racket and I was like, what racket is that? I figured out that it was a prince, but I didn't see a P on it. So I was contemplating, I was like, was she sponsored by Prince? Or was she not? So as soon as she won the French Open, I was like, I just had a feeling. I was like, I'll bet she won't be on Prince anymore. And I feel like within 6 months, she had switched to Tecnifibre. And I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. You know, the up-and-coming racket company signs an up-and-coming star. So I was like, okay, let's see how long it takes for Iga to get used to the new brand, the new racket, and get rolling again. I feel like it took her maybe 3 to 6 months of adjustment, and then she started kind of getting used to it and rolling along. I know that a lot of the cases when a pro switched to a different company, the company either buys the old model or takes the old models that they own, paints them up, sands them down, paints them up to look like something else that their new company has, and have them continue with that while they ease in a new model, during practice. But I think in this case, Iga kind of just took the new racket and ran with it. And she was, okay with it, got used to it, within, I want to say 6 months, she was already rolling really good. She 2 years ago, I want to say maybe a little over 2 years ago, they came out with that T-Rebound that was named after her. We did a video on that, the T-Rebound 298 Iga. So that was the first racket that Tecnifibre named after a sponsored player, right? Daniil didn't have one. 2 years later, this year, 2022, they came out with the Tempo. So no more T-Rebound for Tecnifibre. They are now into Tempo. And again, Iga signature is on it. So, and this plays like a dream, guys. So I understand why she would excel with this racket and play so well with this racket. I may even try this myself to see if I can move forward and play with this myself. Coach Gu actually likes it a lot too. But this is Iga's signature racket. And that's how they got Iga. Because if you think about it, guys, the up-and-coming racket company is Tecnifibre, right? So now how did they get Daniil? Well, they got him when he was pretty young. He was with Wilson, but you have to go back pretty far to even remember that he was with Wilson. It's 10 plus years ago that he played with a Wilson racket. So Tecnifibre grabbed him before he was anybody, before he was on anybody's radar, and they kept him, and they built a great relationship with him as an ATP pro, and they've kind of grown together. As Tecnifibre, gained more steam and partnered, possibly owned Lacoste, right? You saw him getting suited up with Lacoste. So Lacoste and Tecnifibre together, Daniil looks like $1 million, man, with the Lacoste clothes, playing with his T-Fight 305. We're into probably the 4th generation, and there is a new one coming, and that is his signature racket without his name on it. He's known for using a T-Fight 305. That's the one that he supposedly uses. I'm not 100% sure if he uses the one off the shelf. I'm sure there are variances with his racket, but how did this happen, though? How did this happen? Well, a lot has to do with luck. If you ask any of the racket companies, how did they wind up with the stars that they wound up with? Well, a lot of them will tell you that it's a lot of luck, because they put out so much, money and product into players that, sponsoring the right one that catapults to number one, pretty rare, right, guys? Pretty rare. You got, Novak with Head, but he was with Wilson before. You got Federer with Wilson, and he had been a mainstay with Wilson, but he was with Wilson before he was anyone himself. And then you have Nadal, who had been with Babolat since he was pretty young. And if you ask Babolat, how'd you get a racket company so big? How'd you land Nadal? Hey, they'll tell you it was luck, right? So Tecnifibre is in the lucky chair right now, and having the number one players on the WTA and the ATP brings a ton of attention to your products. A lot of exposure too, because your players are going deep into the rounds, if not to the finals and winning the finals. That's what you want as a racket company. That's how you sell more rackets. So that's how Tecnifibre landed Iga and Daniil. All right, guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. All right, ready?
Out.
The ball was in. You cannot be serious. You cannot be serious. The ball hit the paint. Paint flew up. Did you not see that? Are you blind? You need an eye doctor. You cannot be serious. Oh, wait. I have swing vision.
The ball is in.